Okay, so I cleaned everything out with an air compressor. Here's the PC. Also sprayed some parts cleaner. It's actually brake cleaner all over. So everything actually looks really shiny. I don't know if it picks up on this camera, but we gave the whole thing a dusting with the air compressor. And there's so much dust, like you could see in the before footage. With that, with those 5770s, they were just absolutely caked. And now look at it; it is looking brand new, super shiny. The motherboard looks super shiny. We cleaned the CPU cooler out; that was absolutely caked in dust. Everything was just caked in tons of dust, but blew it all out with the air compressor, and look, we have a signal. I originally tested, so I think I tried this stick of RAM first, didn't work. I just put it in this slot. It could have just been a first time boot issue. I don't know if this RAM is faulty. Oh shit, probably is now, but test that later. And then this RAM I was gonna put in, and then I noticed this. Look at that little chip there, and I just thought I don't want to risk, you know, causing fire to the motherboard or anything because of a clearly faulty stick of RAM. So we put that Corsair stick in. I think it's 4 gigs, and then we're gonna test all the other channels. We got a bag of DDR3 that we could put in there. So we're gonna get at least, 16 gigs. That's what we're gonna do. And then taking a look at the BIOS here. Look, we have an i7 4790K CPU. I took pictures of that under the hood. That works just fine. That's great. First try, pretty much. Oh, it looks like we only have a 2 gig stick. But yeah, we cleaned everything off. And it is kind of a stupid configuration that this person had in here, because I believe the 4790K released in 2014. I looked it up. And the 570, the HD 570, we have 2 of them here. They had these in Crossfire, which means that a dual GPU setup. So we had 2 of the exact same HD 5770s. Here's the Crossfire card thing. And the 5770 released in 2009. So when they paired this together, at least in this build, they paired a graphics card that was already 5 years old and like already pretty much underpowered at that time, even in 2014 for a lot of games. With a CPU that was released 10 years ago, 2014. Now the i7 4790K could still get up and boogie today. It's a 4-core 8-thread. We can't overclock it on this tiny little stock cooler. I don't even know. They had the stock cooler running in there. That's the same cooler that was there. I just cleaned it up. And they had 2 5-year-old GPUs running in Crossfire, which was pretty much already outdated. So that had kind of a weird system. And this is a nice motherboard. This is an MSI Z97 G45 Gaming. And it didn't come with any RAM or storage. That's it, so that's what we're going to have to add in this big Antec case. And I got everything here for the grand total of $40 right there, $39.99. And I will show the receipt later too, just to prove it. But yeah, $40 cash for all that. And here is our upgrade. So we're going to put in this 250 gig SSD. Pretty much got free. I'll explain all this later when I'm showing the parts. This 1 terabyte hard drive, I pretty much got for nothing because I bought, just a bundle of different parts for $20. And included in that is this brand new Hyper 212 Evo, which also came in that bundle. So pretty much this is free. So very little in the rooms of upgrades, and then we're going to be putting a GTX 970, which I actually did buy on eBay. So, and we're going to compare the performance of the original and an upgrade. We're installing Windows on the SSD, and it's going great. It's only been a couple minutes, and it's already at 80%. There's the SSD, there's the PC, and it's extremely hot outside, and I'm in the garage, and it's pretty hot in here, so. But even the stock cooler, Here's a rant. I hate Intel stock coolers. That push pin mounting system is absolutely ridiculous. I don't think they should have ever used that ever. It sucks. I think I had a mounting issue. And then it went up. It was like 95 degrees. But I clipped everything super secure in there now, and now it's not going above 80, but that was at like pretty much idle. But I'm putting that down to it being extremely hot in the garage. It's like 100 degrees outside, so that type of temperature makes sense. It's a tiny little stock cooler. Like, look at that. Look at how thin that heatsink is. But yeah, that's pretty much due to it being a horrible cooler on an i7 4790K, and then being super hot. So it's not ideal to run the CPU like this, but we're just installing Windows. We're not stress testing it or anything, and those temperatures will definitely get better when we put this Hyper 212 on there. Okay, so Windows 10 successfully installed just fine. Actually, these fans I didn't think were working. I mean, they just weren't plugged in. A lot of stuff wasn't plugged in when I got this PC. Oh, there we go. The driver just installed. Okay, the driver installed. It didn't crash. So, yeah, the power connectors to the GPU weren't plugged in, so anybody that got that didn't know. They would not get a display out. These fans weren't running. And this is actually a pretty good power supply. 850 watt. It's, I think is a fully modular. No, it's a semi-modular. The 24 pin isn't modular, but other than that, it's modular, and that cable that connected this fan hub wasn't connected. I plugged it in, and those fans are all running on high right now. There's a little thing on the back, and they're all on high. And the AMD driver is just installed. I've never used Crossfire. I'm just using a single GPU just for ease, compatibility, ease of access. Then we're gonna go into the software, drop in that other 5770, and then run some Crossfire. Okay, so we have Crossfire enabled. See, we have the Crossfire bridge thing. In terms of cooling, yeah, they're pretty close. So this GPU is going to be pulling off hot air from the back of this GPU. But unfortunately, there's another PCIe slot down there. So there's 1, 2, 3 on this motherboard. But if you put this GPU in that PCIe slot, that Crossfire bridge does not connect. So I'm not too familiar with Crossfire or SLI because it's dead nowadays. So I don't know if you could run Crossfire without the bridge. But here's it running. So in Device Manager, we have our display adapters, and as you can see, we have not one AMD Radeon HT 5700 series. It's a 5770, but 2. So, yep, Crossfire is enabled, and we're going to do some benchmarks here.
What do you need?
I don't know what you can possibly hope to achieve apart from your own annihilation.
Ammo! Catch! Here you go!
That'll do!
Gunships!
Get ready!
Watch out for the barge! Soldiers, take 'em!
Releasing a captured dragon. I don't think I'll ever understand that one.
Combine soldiers. Where did they come from?
I don't know what you can possibly hope to achieve apart from your own annihilation.
Don't
I
listen to
warned
him.
you this was futile.
Lead up to the next step. Maybe one of those can access the upper decks. Booker, catch!
Great. There must be another way. Don't make me hurt you. Now.
Sure thing!
So in conclusion to this video, I'd like to say that it was a really good deal on the computer for $40 for those kind of specs. I mean, my surprise, when I went into Valley Village, I was just walking around. I didn't even know if I would go in there that day. I went to some other thrift stores, didn't find nothing. But I walked into Valley Village and I was walking by the electronics section and I looked at one wall with, you know, some monitors and crap and just various junk and I was like, there's nothing there. And then I was walking and I was looking at the wall of just other small electronics and stuff. And then I something caught my eye and it was the back of the GPUs. I could tell that there's GPUs on this computer case, and then I looked more, and then it was a big freaking computer case. It's a huge Antec tower, and then you know, they don't care if you look at stuff in Valley Village. So I put it down, took off the side panel. I was looking at it, and then I saw the cool MSI motherboard, and I was like, wow, that's cool. And then I saw the 850-watt power supply, no RAM, no storage, but that wasn't a big deal. And then I took off the stock cooler. I was like, oh, I wonder what CPU's in here. I'm like, and I saw the motherboard, and I was like, this is a nice motherboard. Like, I wonder if this is a pretty good CPU in here. I was like, it could have been like a Pentium, or I was expecting a Pentium or a Celeron or something, because I saw those HD 5770s, and it was cool that they had two, GPUs in Crossfire. Like, that was actually sweet. But then I took off the stock cooler, and then like kind of, of course I don't have any rubbing alcohol or anything, but then I just chipped away some of the thermal paste, the dried up thermal paste with my fingernail, and I saw it was an i7 4790K, and I was like, holy shit. I looked it up, and the i7 alone is worth like $60 on eBay. So I got an entire working computer with a case, motherboard, CPU, power supply, and then two GPUs, two HD 5770s. I don't know their price, but they're old. So if I was gonna say how much I spent upgrading it, I didn't pay individually for the SSD or hard drive or RAM. I mix and match and flip, so maybe $5 for all that. I don't know. And then the GTX 970 was $45 on eBay, and then I'd subtract about. So I spent $50 before, and then I'd subtract maybe like 20 for those 5770s. I don't know. So maybe it's more of instead of a $40 computer, it might be more of a $50 computer now, but realistically, like for $50, you get I built one that has an i7 4790K, 16 gigs of RAM, 250 gig SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive, and a GTX 970, and I built all that for $50. So that's really, really good price performance. If anybody tells you that you have to buy a new PC and spend thousands of dollars to get good performance, like if you want to play, the PC I built could still play a lot of modern games, like especially now with the upscaling and FSR and stuff, and like you saw here, is really good for older games. And even the if I didn't replace anything, those HD 5770s and Crossfire did perform pretty well in some of the games. In those benchmarks, I think the 1% lows were really low because I was using let's see, this external hard drive, and I don't know. I think it's pretty good, but it will give you some just frame drops and stuff on occasion. But it wasn't stuttery or nothing. In one of the games, utilized the SLI, like in some of those games. The Crossfire, it worked pretty well, but of course the GTX 970 just stomps on those HD 5770s in Crossfire. So I'm gonna sell that build. I'm gonna look to get about $250 out of it, so $200 profit pretty much. And that's good. I might start off at 300 and then just do or best offer. I could get 275 out of that or something. Bundle it with a monitor, keyboard, mouse. And I think the resolution that I was testing in helped too. 1680 by 1050. It's 16 by 10. And it was just some budget office monitor, so I could bundle it with that. I could bundle it with this 1080p monitor I got here, my other one. I got for like $5 maybe. But in conclusion, yeah, I got a really good deal on that system, and this is my first video on, doing the proper benchmarks and stuff. Like, I didn't, MSI Afterburner is actually really helpful. Like, you could do everything in there. You benchmark, you could record all your stats on the screen so you could see all your stats real time. Then you could benchmark, so you could go to the file afterward and like see stuff. It'll give you your averages and everything like that, which is really helpful. And then you could even record. So I didn't, in my PC in the garage, I had a hard time getting internet on it. Like, I don't know if my USB adapter sucked or just because of the fact that I'm in the garage pretty far away from my router. But I'd get internet and then it would drop out like in 5 to 10 minutes. So I had a really hard time installing games, hence why I had to use the hard drive, the external hard drive, and everything like that. But Yeah, it was a pretty nice build. I'm happy with it. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.